What's up everyone, it's Scotty with MoneyVest. So in this video, we are going to be talking about cryptocurrencies and more specifically Bitcoin and Ethereum. I will be doing a full technical analysis on these two cryptocurrencies so you can better understand what key levels to watch and of course what is expected in the fourth quarter of 2023 from cryptos. And we'll cover the seasonality chart for October, November, December, the monthly returns of Bitcoin, and a seasonality for crypto as well, and of course the technical analysis and a few other catalysts to look forward to. As always, if you enjoyed this video, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want more regular updates on cryptos, comment down below crypto, and I'll make sure that I can include a more detailed analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum from a technical standpoint and kind of share some of the recent developments that are happening in the crypto world as well. So link's going to be down below if you want to join, of course, be a part of our MoneyVest community. But let me know in the comment section down below if you want more regular updates and detailed analysis on the technical analysis, of course, if you enjoyed this video. So first things first, let's talk about a report that came out at the end of September. So we know the third quarter is done. Fourth quarter is just getting started today. So we're going to find out how the stock market, how the crypto market, how the dollar exchange, everything is going to do in the fourth quarter. Usually the fourth quarter seasonality wise is a little bit better compared to the previous three quarters, and more specifically, September is the worst month of the year for equities, and we witnessed that by the markets being down over 4%, but now we're entering towards the best time of the year for not only equities, but also cryptocurrencies from a risk assets standpoint. It is usually the time for the markets to see some decent gains. And that's exactly what we're going to discuss. But this was a report that pretty much suggested that Bitcoin has limited upside in the fourth quarter as a possibility of higher rates cast a shadow over crypto. Now, we know that interest rates have been higher for longer, and there is a possibility for maybe one more 25 basis point hike from the Federal Reserve, something that we have been talking about on the channel in the past. And this right here was Greg Magadini, director of derivatives at crypto data provider. And they mentioned that if we have a positive ETF development, I could see us going back to the top of the range that we saw this year. Bitcoin has traded in a narrow range between $25,000 and $30,000 for a very long time, which I'll go over in the technical analysis. A Bitcoin ETF getting the green light is widely regarded as a key event that would push Bitcoin to new highs and bringing liquidity and trading volumes back into crypto. Now, we talked about this in one of our previous videos where Grayscale won the lawsuit against the SEC to basically be considered to create a spot Bitcoin ETF, because a lot of the ETFs right now are constructed on the back of derivative products and not actual spot Bitcoin ETFs, because that will create a huge wave of a lot of traditional brokerage firms like Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, a lot of these companies also to create an ETF, issue it to their investors, and that's going to open doors to a lot of volume, a lot of liquidity, and a lot of interest in that ETF, which is obviously going to drive potential demand, and high demand leads to obviously higher prices. Now, one of the big problems with us breaking out to new high territories is we still have this backdrop of hawkish Fed that's dragging on risk assets across the board, and a crypto-specific catalyst could bring us to the top of that range, but the macro is still a headwind, and that probably prevents us from breaking to new all-time highs on the year. From speculative to quality investments, according to Cox, while Bitcoin as a risky investment to traditional-minded investors, lining it up against stocks and bonds, for the crypto-focused investors, Bitcoin is a relatively stable store of value and a hedge against the traditional financial system, because we know the US obviously has been printing a ton of money, and the more dollars there are, the more they devalue it over time. And there's a significant crowd on both sides. Obviously, the traditional investors are not interested in crypto. They believe Bitcoin's a scam. And the other crypto-focused investors are obviously think the US dollar is a scam and crypto is where one needs to be. That's why Bitcoin is up 60% year to date. So we have seen a pretty significant rally on a year-to-date basis, but Bitcoin is at levels where it could struggle technically, but in a weird way, you may continue to see money flow into well-known cryptocurrencies because of the focus on quality. And that's the story of the fourth quarter. How does the appetite for quality collide with the appetite for speculation? And the answer to that depends on interest rates, which will probably stay high for at least a few more months. Now, this right here is the seasonality chart, right? This is a very, very good representation going back as far as 2011. And what you'll notice is that October is actually one of the best months for crypto. So this is going back as far as 2011. And in October, you'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of the last 10 years or 11 years, Bitcoin is up. So 8 divided by 11, we're looking at a 72% probability that Actually, it's going to be 8 divided by 12. So 8 divided by 12 is what we're doing. And that is going to be 66% probability, right? So 67% probability that that Bitcoin is up in the month of October. You can see that in the past. And the average gain is going to be 45. We're just going to do some very quick calculations here. 68 plus 573, 83. We're looking at 83, 97. 97 plus another 30, that's 128. Plus 48, we're looking at 170%. Plus 61, we're looking at 230. So 230 divided by 8, we're looking at least a 28, almost a 29% gain on average, with a 66% probability for Bitcoin to be higher in October. Now, on the day right now, Bitcoin is up. It's back over 28,000. Ether's also, I think, back over 1,700. And then if you take a look at November, November is also pretty strong. We're looking at 7 out of 12 years that it's been higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that probability comes out to a little bit over 58%. So again, majority of the times it is higher. And in December, I believe it's a pretty even split. So we're looking at 6 times when it's higher, 6 times it's lower. So 50-50 for December. This right here is going to be Q4 specifically. So when you account for all these together, and this is going back as far as since 2013. And what you'll notice is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of the last 9. So we're looking at 6 out of 10. So 60% probability that fourth quarter is positive for Bitcoin. And majority of those gains actually come in October, November, and then December is kind of like a split month. Now Q4, 480% gain in 2013. 2017, we saw 15% gain. In 2020, we saw 168% gains. So it kind of goes through these cycles where 3 years, it takes a break, and then it has a very strong Q4, and then another 3 years, it takes a break, and then has a very strong Q4. So it kind of goes through these seasonality cycles where it kind of goes up, consolidates sideways for some time, and then goes up pretty dramatically as well. Now, starting with the technical analysis for Bitcoin, this is where we are as of the most recent, Bitcoin quote here, just a little bit over 28,300. This is the overall technicals where you'll notice that we are on a very nice consistent uptrend where Bitcoin continues to move higher. Now, one of the things that I do want to point out is that from a fundamental standpoint, there's no way to value Bitcoin, right? There's no way for me to come out here and be like, you know what, guys, I think the intrinsic value for Bitcoin is at $20,000, right? I don't know. I'm going to be very honest, right? Because it is completely dependent on supply and demand. It has little to no cash flow. Almost as far as I'm aware, it has no cash flow. It has no fundamental value attached to it. The only thing, of course, is the blockchain technology. With Ethereum, it's a smart contracts. So there's no way for us to value what is the appropriate level for Bitcoin, what is the fair value like we do with equities and stocks. So keeping that in mind, you have to understand that there is a significant level of risk involved with cryptocurrencies, and more specifically with Bitcoin and Ether. Yes, they are limited in supply. Yes, there's only, X amount of Bitcoins and Ethers out there in the open market, and the ones that are being mined are only going to be limited. But even then, there is no way for us to value what Bitcoin or Ether is going to be, right? What's the intrinsic value for this per se? So keeping that in mind, you have to understand there is a risk level involved here. So it's going to be solely based on technical analysis. That's really what we're only analyzing here, is because at the end of the day, supply and demand is represented in the charts, which is basically technical analysis here. And what you'll notice is that the all resistance for Bitcoin at around here, this level right here, which is around 15,000, acting as a very strong support now for Bitcoin, which is also in line with this higher low. That's the white line you see on the chart, where we have previously almost gotten validated here, and we pretty much got started back in 2015. So that consolidation, that support here is very, very strong at around $15,000 for Bitcoin. We obviously came down to that level before seeing a very nice rally. Now we're also approaching a very important area of resistance, right? So if I basically bring up the resistance line, that is going to be this right here, where we are basically struggling a little bit. This right here, old support, potentially acting as a new resistance, and that's going to be sitting roughly at 28,400, 29,000 more precisely is going to be that level. And you'll notice week after week, this is the weekly chart, this is the monthly chart. So month after month, we've just gotten rejected at that price for Bitcoin. So the moment we are able to see a very nice consistent breakout above this, that's the red rectangle that I'm referring to. So that red rectangle over here, that's previous support acting as a resistance. The moment we are able to see a pretty nice breakout, that could put us on target once again to getting up to over 69, close to $70,000, where we have previously gone rejected a couple times. That was a double top for Bitcoin, and of course we got rejected and then had a 80% sell-off for Bitcoin. Another thing that I want to point out is that Bitcoin does go over, these cycles of going down about 70 to 80%. So this right here is the chart that pretty much represents this intense sell-off for Bitcoin. So this right here, 79 to 80% sell-off. This right here, 79 to 80% sell-off. This right here, another 79 to 80% sell-off. So it kind of goes through these cycles where it goes up, sells off pretty aggressively, goes up, sells off pretty aggressively, goes up, sells off pretty aggressively. So that's pretty much the pattern of Bitcoin that we have witnessed. Now, going over to, again, in more detail, this is the weekly chart that we're referring to now. And again, what you'll notice is that this old support level right over here, old support level, acting as a double top resistance for Bitcoin, which is going to be sitting roughly at 31,000. So that's going to be the level to watch. And right now we are once again coming up to that resistance. And this is a little bit of a rising wedge pattern as well, right? So you can see that Bitcoin's been trading in this pattern of rising wedge, making higher highs and higher lows. So bottom line is we are coming up to an important resistance at 31,000. If Bitcoin breaks above that level, so for example, if Bitcoin breaks above this resistance, that red rectangle, the next target is going to be at 48,000 right here, all the way up to 70,000, which is obviously going to be the all-time high and kind of in line with this previous resistances that we have gotten rejected at. So those are going to be some levels to watch. And of course, support levels are going to stay put right here, roughly around 24,500, all the way down to 15,000, as we pointed out before, inside this green rectangle. Very, very important level of demand and support for BTC. Now, going over to one more thing that I want to point out is that Bitcoin's price by volume has been at around 6,500 since 2018. But since 2020, it's been a little bit over $18,000. So that's majority of the volume has come in at around that price, at around $19,000 or $20,000 is where the majority of that volumes come in for Bitcoin at that price point. Now, going over to Ether, almost an identical chart. So what you'll notice for Ether is that it's also been on a very nice, consistent uptrend, higher highs and higher lows, and it's actually coming up to, it's a very, very important level of support. As you can see that it's been validated several times at this higher low, right? So it's every time come down to that support, it's been bought up, and right now it's kind of drifting right alongside trend line, right alongside that support at the moment. So, and one more thing that's very interesting for Ether and similar to what Bitcoin also displayed was that all resistance level oftentimes turn into new support levels for Bitcoin and Ether, right? And that's true with any technical analysis that we may do for any company and stock. Technical analysis works that way because these are key areas that people are watching, that investors and traders are watching. And right now for Ether, once again, you'll notice that all resistance acting as a new support, and that's sitting roughly at around $1,000, maybe $1,200. That's going to be that price point to really watch at the moment. Now, going in a little bit deeper, going over to the weekly chart, what you'll notice is for Ether right now, that we are once again coming up to a resistance. So this right here, all support level, acted as a previous resistance, and right now this red rectangle, very, very important resistance, can be sitting roughly around $2,100 to $2,400, and very, very strong support sitting right over here. So this is also acted as a previous resistance. So again, in my previous chart, I showed you guys all resistance acting as a new support, and that's sitting roughly at around $1,200 to $1,300. That's the green rectangle. And of course, for Ether, we've just been trading sideways in that range. So this right here has been the range, resistance over here, support over here, and that's been the range within which it's been trading. Same with Bitcoin, right? Same exact concept with Bitcoin. So if you come back, you'll notice that Bitcoin also, for the longest time, has been trading in between this range. So basically, it's been going sideways, and of course, between $25,000 and $30,000. Actually, between $15,000 and $30,000. So this right here has been the range within which it's been trading at the moment. So Ether, very strong support, like I said, going to be sitting roughly at around $1,200, $1,300 with a massive resistance at around $2,100. And if Ether is able to see a big breakout past this level of resistance at around 2,100, 2,200, where we have gone rejected previously, that's going to put us on target to once again getting up to over 4,800 previous resistance and the all-time high for Ethereum as well. So very, very important levels coming up for both Ether and for Bitcoin. And of course, October seasonality wise is usually the best month for crypto. So we'll find out what ends up happening this month and in the fourth quarter for cryptocurrencies. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and a complete update on the technical analysis on cryptos. If you did, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining, and of course getting access to all the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, members only videos. Everything's going to be included with the link down below. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.